Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Hello, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It is Thursday, July 25th, and this is Blinkers Off. What is up, man?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Back again, ready to do this last show of the evening. And if you've been on the channel today, there's been a lot of content and time to bring it home, man. Trying to bring it home and finish it up strong.
A lot of content, a lot of you. That's
much.
the other part. If you guys are like, hey, I'm sure at some point they're like, I think I've heard this already. Your voice just melted into everybody's brain. But no, this is a new show. You get me now. I'll try to talk more because I know you're tired, and but we'll get through this. And listen, it's an exciting week though, so I'm gonna guess you're not gonna have any issues getting geared up here because we've got Jim Dandy week, of course, which it leads up to the Travers, but you also have across the country, you got Del Mar's got big time action with the Grade 1, as well as a Breeders' Cup win, and you're in. We got to talk about what we saw last week. Lots happening right now in the 3-year-old department, and this weekend is no doubt we're going to learn even more.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, that last weekend was a lot of fun. You kind of, again, you're trying to break down what's happening. You're trying to get that. Hey, who is it? Who is that top horse? And so, we had a nice Haskell and had a great performance in the coaching club, but this is the next bunch, right? It's the next group of horses here. It's a small field for the Jim Dandy, but it's the right field. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. It's been an unpredictable kind of season with these horses in the 3-year-old ranks, and I don't expect that to change too much. That they're not really reliable horses. So when that happens, you kind of get some sporadic results.
Well, speaking of kind of like what we, the 3-year-olds, let's get into it. What we saw last week, and listen, it felt like the Belmont all over again, right? It was like we've seen this before. You hit the top of the stretch. Mindframe looks like he's about ready to do his thing. Looks like the race is kind of over. Dornoch doesn't necessarily appear to be firing, right? I would say a huge race. Next thing you know, Mindframe is spinning his wheels a little bit. He's gone to the outside of the track, very similar to the last race. And Dornoch pushes home and honestly pulls away there at the end of this one. So, listen, at some point we got to start giving credit where credit's due. And on top of that, maybe say, okay, maybe Mindframe just isn't quite good enough. Or maybe isn't the horse that maybe we thought he was.
Yeah. A little bit of both, I think. I think at the end of the day, as Mindframe just hasn't been able to finish races, but it wouldn't have mattered if Dornoch hadn't ran just so good both times. And I really thought this Haskell race from Dornoch was incredible. He looked like he was going to fade, basically.
I know.
And then it's like, okay, he's running. Wait, he's still not going to win, but he's going to be better than I thought he was going to be. And then he wins. And I think it's just a story of he's hard-nosed. He's found what he wants to do. Just put him on the lead no matter what. Don't worry about it. Like I say, he's hard-nosed horse, and you're going to have to not do dumb things to beat him. You have to run a good race to beat him. And Mindframe, just both races, this one especially, though, dude, I really thought he was getting ready to just smoke him. And then right when you think that and they turn the corner, it's like, well, he went wide, but that's okay. And then like a couple of strides and you're like, no, he's not going to kick on again. And then there it was with Dornoch, just kind of that horse that runs straight and keeps trying and keeps going. And you got to run well to put those horses away. And he couldn't do it in the Belmont, and he couldn't do it in the Haskell. He just couldn't put him away. He passed him both times, but he couldn't put him away.
he looked like, honestly, at the top of the stretch. And I've talked to some of our friends in the Discord that are the Dornoch side, right? Which I'm surprised we're not seeing it in the chat yet.
Yeah.
But like even they were like, yeah, there for a second it looked like, he wasn't going to fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even they admitted that. And so yeah, watching that live, I'm thinking the same thing you are. I'm thinking, well, one, Mindframe's about ready to eat, and two, kind of like, oh, I knew it. Dornoch, that was kind of a flash. Like he can't do it again here. And then you're like, whoa. So like when the race ended, it took me a second to kind of even comprehend, which shouldn't have because we just saw the race at the Belmont, right? But it's still, this one felt, I was like, he's gonna do it, and then he didn't, and then not only did he not do it, Dornoch kind of re-rallied, so to speak. I don't know. It was just, listen, all that said, he's a number one horse. Dornoch is the number 3-year-old male, anyways, I should say. We'll get to the next in a second. And I do think I was too hard on him immediately after the race, probably because I've lost money on him 2 races in a row. But I mean, like you said, like if it wasn't for Dornoch, we would sit here and say, well, he's ran, right out of allowance company. He won the Belmont. He was goofy as hell. He won the Haskell. He was goofy as hell. Like, how good is this horse, kind of thing? And so, really, it's one horse. So I don't want to put too much, too much slide on Mindframe because, like, if Dornoch's number 1, then Mindframe's got to be number 2, pending what we'll see this weekend.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I don't know. The first time Mindframe did it, it's like, well, it's pretty correctable. It was pretty interesting, or not pretty interesting, pretty obvious. You hit him left-handed, and he shot out. And this time around, they're turning from him. I was watching with Heather, and she's like, man, he looks like he is just moving real smooth. I said, yeah, he is. He's doing this easy. And I immediately go to Dornoch, right? Because I wasn't really worried about Timberlake. I thought if Mindframe fires and Dornoch fires, I still think Mindframe's better, but I think, it might get close. Dornoch was the only horse.
And like, you definitely knew Tuscan Sky wasn't going to do anything.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Tuscan Sky was way out of the picture. And so I looked, and it's like, well, hell, Timberlake's passing Dornoch, so this race is over.
Yeah.
And then I look back at Mindframe, and I'm like, well, he's doing the same shit, and then I look and I'm like, well, here comes Dornoch back. And I thought that he's not, I turned to Heather. And this was like top of the stretch, almost a little bit after top of the stretch. I said, Mindframe's not beating him. He's like, yeah, what is he doing? I was like, I have no idea. That he has no excuse this time. Like, he didn't hit him. He hit him left-handed eventually because he panicked because he was getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
But he just did it on his own this time, just drifting around and being an idiot. And the one thing we can say about Dornoch, he just turns the corner, he hugs the rail, he runs straight, and you got to go beat him. And neither time Mindframe could beat him. So it is twofold. You have to give Dornoch all the credit because he's ran 2 big races to get the job done and become the number 1 horse in the crop right now for 3-year-old males. And then the other side of it is we had an excuse maybe in the Belmont with Mindframe. There's really no excuse in the Haskell. It was his to win, and he couldn't do it.
So let me ask you, do you think it's, because I've heard all, and I think fair questions, but all kinds of theories. Is it he's just not good enough? He's not mature enough? He's hurt? Or he doesn't want to go this far? Like, I mean, again, like the 1.5 miles was the last time, and he looked better. I mean, if you compare the 2 races, like as far as he was kind of gaining back on Dornoch in the Belmont after he got straight, this time he was fading. Dornoch was pulling away. So, do you think it's a distance concern? Do you think he's maybe an injury of some sort? Do you think, he's just got to develop? He's just not very good. He's not as good. I mean, where would you kind of fall in there?
I think at the end of the day, I'll just go back to what an assistant trainer told me a long time ago when I was asking him about some specific horses and they were quote unquote crazy. And he said, no, horses aren't dumb or crazy. Usually when they act up, they're injured, or if they're not injured, they've just got ailments. Yeah. He's like, they don't really go out there and go, I'm just going to go nuts right now. Right. So I always lean when I see stuff like that as he's got little issues, little problems. Maybe they're big problems. I have no idea, but physically he's not quite right is how I always kind of look at it. And I always have since after what they kind of told me. There were some horses that we used to follow at Oaklawn. They were just nuts. And he goes, oh no, that horse was really smart. Actually, he was just sore. And so he did stupid things, and I'm going to lean that way with that, but I don't know. I don't have any knowledge of that. I can't tell you for sure, just from talking to people. That's kind of what I get. It's not that I don't think it's the distance. he may not be as good as we thought. I mean, that's definitely part of it, but I just think there's some little things going on with him that he can't quite get over.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, like that we don't see him for a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess just I mean, again, I don't know at all either. I haven't really heard much, but you wouldn't be surprised, kind of, if that's the trend, especially if Fiercest were to say run well. Then it's like, okay, well, he's going to Travers, and we may not see Mindframe until like the Pennsylvania Derby or something.
Yeah, I could see that. And what Curtis said, that's kind of starting to check out. I really didn't think by the way, for podcast listeners, Curtis says, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure Mindframe just isn't the second best 3-year-old that actually races. Shout out to the Baffert horses. So yeah, look, I think after the Belmont, you kind of exited and go, well, look, it was his first try at a stakes race.
Yeah.
He ran second in the Belmont. That's pretty good. I think he's going to project. And then you run the Haskell and you think, okay, now he's going to kind of move forward and move past that stuff. And he didn't. And then you're sitting there going, well, look, he's ran back-to-back triple-digit buyers. He's gotten second to a horse that's ran back-to-back triple-digit buyers.
Yeah.
He might just be second best. And I think after the Haskell, I can totally accept that because I didn't see any reason for him to do the shit that he did.
Well, he's ran 4 races. 3 of them were triple-digit buyers. The other one was like a 98 or something, and then he won, by the way, in that one. I mean, again, 4 races. That's all he's ran in his career. Yeah. I mean, this is a horse that, and we're sitting here, I'm not saying we are, but just saying, like, in general, like, oh, he should have won, should have done this, should have done that. Like, we're asking a horse to win his 3rd start of his career, winning the Belmont.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's not forget, those 2, let's say Dornoch and him, beat the hell out of everyone else. I mean, both times, it was never close, like a close second with him and someone else. Like, so it's, if like, again, like I said earlier, I think if Dornoch's won, I don't know how Mindframe's on 2. And I want to bring up this comment too, real quick. Yeah. I do think sometimes Curtis says, it's wild that basically why they're talking about why, they even tried to rate Dornoch and why, they should have never done that. In the Bluegrass, they tried, and obviously it was a disaster. And the Derby was a disaster because of the post position and whatnot. But I do think a lot of times, and Halterman, you can probably speak to this better than I can, but I do think a lot of times we as in horse racing, like, it's like if you have a good horse, like, well, we can rate him now, like, let's just do that. And sometimes horses aren't, like, I'm not saying Dornoch's not good, but he's not like a superstar kind of horse. We've seen horses like that where you put Pharaoh on the lead, you can put Pharaoh back, he's going to do his thing. Some horses just, they're better on the lead, and don't mess with it. And when they're off of it, they're not as good. And so I think that's kind of the case with them. It's like, well, he's really good, so now we can rate him now. We can do this. Like, well, not some horses you just can't quite be so push button with.
I think that's very well said. I couldn't agree more. And I think as far as the Bluegrass goes, I think they just wanted to see, even though I totally disagree with experimenting in a grade 1 race, I still think they just kind of wanted to see, can we sit him? They were experimenting for the Derby. And I think the Derby, he just got cut off. Like, I don't really blame the trainer for the Kentucky Derby. He drew a tough post. He got cut off and he was done. So that I just draw a line through. The big thing for him, when he gets the lead, he wins. Right. So,
I mean,
he's 5 for 5 when he gets in front. So to me, it's pretty easy. Now, the flip side of it is there's not going to be an easy lead for him. There's not going to be an easy pace for him for the most part. And when he's in tough races ever again, they're not going to leave him alone. But the flip side, he wasn't by himself in the Belmont early, like him and sees the Gray were out there, and he just kind of put him away. And you look at the Haskell, I mean, Timberlake was there at certain times with him, and he just put him away again. So he's a dangerous horse now because they've just kind of said we're going to send him, and whatever happens, happens. I'm with you. Like, I don't think he's an elite horse, but in this crop right now, he works. He works just fine. And when you look at this older bunch right now, he might be okay in a race like the Classic if he can keep going.
And as one of our favorite movies, Replacements. What's he got? He's got heart. He's got heart, all right? And a lot of these guys, or at least horses, in this crop have that, right? We've seen all kinds of horses that get to the, get like, well, mind frame, you can't finish the race. Fierceness is, let's don't even get started there. Sierra Leone needs a perfect trip absolutely to get there. And it's like this guy, whether he gets a bad post or whether he isn't on the lead, doesn't get to the lead or whatever, like there's something to be said about a horse that when you bet on him, like he's gonna give it. You know you're gonna get the best effort out of him. It's not gonna be some stupid performance where it's like what the hell was that? So there's something to be said about a horse, and especially with this crop, when when you can see a horse finish races.
Yeah, the only real worry that you have with Dornoch is if he doesn't get out of the gate very well, gets cut off, something like that, and doesn't get the lead, then you worry about him. But you're right. I mean, as long as he breaks well, gets that positioning, you know he's going to give you an effort.
Yeah, and I think it could be an issue as we get down the road, especially say you were to run in the Classic, which obviously the Haskell was a win and you're in for the Classic, and we'll talk about him here in a second. Arabian Night, let's say he is in the race and he's firing all cylinders or whoever. Like, can a horse that's maybe more experienced or whatever like put some pressure on him and kind of take him out of his element?
I mean, probably is the answer. That's usually the answer. Anytime that happens, usually they have a hard time dealing with it. But again, he's fended off a couple of horses that I don't think were as good as him. And maybe he can do that with all the 3-year-olds that they kind of put up there with him. But yeah, you get up with some of those older ones, it's going to be tough. But it's going to be tough for anybody in this crop right now when they rise up to face the older horses. It doesn't seem like this isn't a knock on Dornoch. A lot of the times, when you talk about the Classic with 3-year-olds, if they're not trained by Bob Baffert, they have a hard time, right? And Dornoch's probably in that category along with everybody else. But within the division, I mean, look, again, he went head-to-head with Seize the Gray, totally threw him off in the Belmont and won the race. So I cross that bridge when you get there, I guess. If you handicap a race and there's a ton of speed in it, maybe you stay away from him. But he's shown that he can go pretty fast and keep going. So, if he's pressed on the rail, that could be a whole different thing. But kind of cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, and like you said a little bit ago, when you start winning races, you become more of a target, right? It's like a little less of like, okay, like let's just let him go out there because he can't finish the race, and it's like, oh well, we need to. He becomes a focus of the race with a lot of these other horses, all these other trainers.
Yeah, he is the hunted now, no question about it. He definitely is the hunted now. So we'll see. It does make a difference, however. In this country, speed on the dirt, it's never a bad thing. So that's how you win races most of the time.
Well, we've established now that no doubt about it. We've seen two efforts there in a row. Mind Frame is just a little bit not quite as good as Dornoch, but a little bit later in the day on Saturday, we saw the CCA Oaks, and my goodness. This horse, Torpedo Anna, guys, is the real deal. We kind of knew that, of course, going in. She secured, no doubt about it, the 3-year-old filly honors. But listen, dude, after that performance on Saturday, and the talk here is, and it's already talked. We already like Peak's already mentioning it right after the race. Like, could we see her in the Travers against, at the very least, Dornoch, right? As well as some of these that are going to be in this Jim Danny this weekend. But could we see her? And on top of that, like, who was the best 3-year-old that ran on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's a great chance we're going to see her in the Travers after that. I mean, it was just hopped in the air, and I'm just like, wow, this is going to be a nightmare. I can't believe this is happening. She didn't get the spot she wanted, and like the great horses do. When they get in a little bit of trouble, they find their way out of it, and she did. And then finally, you get up the backside, and it's like, oh, she's fine. Look, I mean, she looks unbelievable. Here's a fact, though: she's going to have to run faster to beat them, the boys. It's just from a timing standpoint, number standpoint, everyone look at it. They're going to have to hope she's got a little more in her. I think she does because they really haven't asked her for her best and pretty much all these races. She's got to just beat them in first or second gear. She's going to have to find another gear when she raises up in competition. Who's to say she can't, though? That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt she belongs in the Travers. Another one, if she enters, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Of course, who we're picking, but she's earned her way, and if they want to try it, I mean, I
Oh
think
man.
I don't know if she's the favorite, but I think if she's not, she's the second choice, right? I mean, she's going to look good on paper.
Well, listen, get your popcorn ready
Yeah.
if she runs, because
Yep.
all of a sudden, again, let's not again we have this weekend, right, to see. But if you just want to see, okay, who's better, Dornock or her? Well, you might get the exact kind of matchup we've been seeing with Mindframe and him. Only you got a horse that can finish a race, and well, to an extent, we'll see what she can if she can finish against Dornock. But man, that'd be a hell of a stretch run to see if she can get there, and if a filly can upset Dornock. And again, we talked a lot about this on Saturday with John after that performance, and kind of her path of not just her path of we know she's secured the 3-year-old filly honors, but there is a real path here to get her horse of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of the talk of like, okay, do you run her in the Travers or do you not run her in the Travers and kind of keep doing this sort of, go to the Alabama, and then after that you just basically point to the distaff and just try to run the table, right? And just continue. If you go undefeated or undefeated the rest of the year, is that enough still to do that? Or do you roll the dice and try to go against the boys in the Travers?
If you win the Travers, you're going to be horse of the year, most likely, in my opinion. Because then there's really not anybody to be overly scared about for horse of the year. If you win, let's pretend you win the Travers. Well, you take care of all the other 3-year-old males, right? They're going to be behind you. You already have the 3-year-old fillies. They're all behind you. There's no sprinters to worry about. There's no turf horses to worry about that are based in this country. And so then it comes down to the older females. Well, there's not really anybody there. Idiomatic. That was pretty shaky. I think Torpedo Anna would kill Idiomatic right now and anybody in that division.
Yeah.
And so then it comes down to, well, can she out kick for horse of the year, a national treasure? A Senior Buscour might come back. I don't know. Like, there's not much out there. So this would be a great year for a filly to go win the Travers and be the horse of the year. I think she's got it in the bag if she can go win a race like that.
Yeah, it would make it interesting if, say, I mean, again, just making up scenarios, but say she were to win the Travers, and then let's just say, National Treasure wins a couple more and the Classic, or Dornock were to win the Classic, and she were to lose at the Breeders' Cup in the distaff, then it becomes it's like, okay, well, she beat the whole boys in the Travers. You know what I mean? So that would make it, and that's what I'm saying is, like, I think that is like, do you take the starch out of her too much by getting her in the Travers, or do you kind of do the cakewalk, get these horses, keep beating them up, and then basically let it all, go in the distaff in the Breeders' Cup? I think if you're McPeak and the way he is, like, if you've got a horse like this and she's this good, and we've seen it before, he's going to run her. I really think he will.
Dennis brought up a point in one of the shows I was on today, saying if it was his, he would go Alabama and then go Pennsylvania Derby, because he thinks that'd just be an easier spot for her to face boys for the first time. And I said, well, logically that makes a lot of sense. I can't really argue that.
Yeah.
But it's probably not realistic that that's what they'll try. But if you're saying what's best for her, that's probably it. But will that lock up horse of the year for her? Well, I mean, I don't think it'll lock it up, but it'll give her a good run at it. But would Travers lock up horse of the year? Yeah.
Yeah, because, say she runs in the Travers and runs like third or something, runs well, but runs third, but then goes on to win, say, another, race before the Breeders' Cup, and then wins the distaff. I still think she's got a shot, because you're talking about the Oaks, you're talking about, the CCA, you're talking about, what was the one before the CCA? The Acorn, right? It was the Acorn. Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking multiple grade ones, the biggest races of the year, basically, and a good effort in the Travers. So I would love to see it. I think racing would love to see it. It would be great to see. And again, we've kind of been lucky enough to have these matchups where it's like, okay, who's better, Mindframe or Dornock? Well, we found out. Who's better between Dornock and her? Well, hopefully we find out. Maybe we'll find out between, Sierra Leone and Dornock or whatever. We've seen that, right? So we'll see. as these horses have progressed. Let's get into it, though, because there's a lot to talk about. We could talk about this forever, I feel like, but we got to find out what's going to happen this weekend. And this weekend, we have the $500,000 Jim Dandy at Saratoga. And then give some rapid-fire selections for some of the major stakes action this weekend at Mar and Saratoga, including the $400,000 Bing Crosby Stakes, which is a Breeders' Cup when you're in for the sprint. Let's go. Dude.
I would probably look forward to the Travers more than any other race this year if she runs in it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Because she, just the way she wins her races is just something. It's a wow. There's a wow factor to her,
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that if she, if they were to do that, she's going to create so much buzz for that race.
Yeah, and then win or lose, we could analyze it, but the hype coming into it would just be, it would be amazing.
Yeah, especially if we're lucky enough to have the Haskell winner, the Belmont winner, the Jim Dandy winner, whatever all these winners are, all go up and line up against the Oaks winner, the CCA, all like it's like it just. You can't ask. It's like, it's like Magic said all those years ago. Like, wouldn't it be nice if we had a race in the middle of the summer that was kind of like the Derby, but we could line them up and see who's the best? Well, guess what? You would. And you could also get a filly in there. So,
yep. Be pretty awesome.
That will never not. That will live on forever.
I know.
Yeah. And let's, like Kevin said, I mean, I don't know. Like we talked about this last week. I'll believe it when I see it, if Baffert brings one, but an Unmatched Wisdom I didn't think was ultra impressive in the Curlin, and we know how the Curlin horses do. But I get your point. If we can get a Baffert, if we were to get a Muth, that would just be icing on the cake.
Yep. We're not getting a Mind Frame. Hate to tell you that, but
no Mind Frame's not going to be there.
Mm-mm.
He's going to be. I don't know what he's going to be doing, but he's not going to be there. All right, Saturday at Saratoga, race number 10 is the Jim Dandy Stakes, grade 2, worth $500,000. You want a mile and an eighth. For the 3-year-olds, of course, we've got a field of 6. And dude, I don't know about you, but it's look, handicapping this is, I know it's only a field of 6, but it's an interesting one for sure. I mean, of course, you have Sierra Leone. Needs no introduction, or even money favorite. Fierceness needs no introduction at 9-5. Seize the Gray, your Preakness winner. We know what he is, right? And then you've got a couple interesting ones, but especially number 3, batting down, the new shooter, so to speak, at 5-1. He ran a decent race, I thought, last time out. Kind of been flirting with running in these big races, and all of a sudden, here we go. Get to see how he lines up with these, but the 2 biggest storylines of the race are, 1, can Sierra Leone get there? And 2, the biggest one, right, is Fierceness is due for one of his big performances, right? So is it going to be today or on Saturday?
Yeah, I hate this race. Totally hate it. No horse in here is very reliable, and that's always a terrible feeling. Yeah, look, I think it does boil down between Sierra Leone and Fierceness. I think it's going to be one of those 2. I don't fully trust Seize the Gray. I think Batten Down is getting there, but I don't think he's quite ready. Could be wrong. Pony Express is super interesting, but I just couldn't get all the way there. Gould's Gold, not a big fan. So then it came down to the 1 and the 6. Sierra Leone, he's reliable because you know what he's going to do, but he's not the greatest win bet because he just he needs things to go his way. He needs a good trip. He needs pace, all this kind of stuff. He's going to get bet too hard.
Yeah.
And then you got Fierceness, who he's probably my least favorite horse maybe ever. You just have no idea what he's going to do.
I agree.
Fierceness, his best race will win. Sierra Leone can't catch him, I don't think. But you have no idea what he's going to run, how he's going to run. There's a lot of speed in here, so I think that's not great for him either. I hated to do it, but I just feel like if Sierra Leone can't win here, it's either because Fierceness ran his race, which is a total guess, or Sierra Leone's just not very good because with the amount of speed in the race, the way it sets up, Sierra Leone should be able to pass Seize the Gray, Batten Down, Pony Express, and Ghoul's Gold. And then if Fierceness just kind of doesn't run his race, this is Sierra Leone's to lose. And I'm not going to put all my eggs in the Fierceness basket. I just can't do it. I'll play him on multi races, but I'm not playing him to win. Like I said, his best race wins. His other race finishes last.
Yeah, he's such an interesting horse because, and I say interesting very very loosely, right? Because like it's just it's hard to kind of remember a horse that is so like if he shows up, it's like we have the potential to see him win by 10,
Yep.
right? Like that's how much better his best race is than anything we've seen out of anybody in this race. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean not 10, but probably 5. Yeah, and it's a situation where if he fires, I don't have any doubt he can win by multiple lengths. Yeah.
I mean, the two that he's won that were like ultra, well, he's won his debut. It was won by 11. Then he won by 6 in the Breeders' Cup, and he won by 13 in the Florida Derby. And the other ones he's just gotten annihilated, right? Just like was not close to it all. So that's just the thing, So and when you look at the numbers where he won, 110 in the Florida Derby and a 105 in the Breeders' Cup, guys. I mean, Sierra Leone's best is a 99. Seize the Gray got 100 in the Preakness. Batten Down got a 93 back-to-back races. The Ohio Derby was the last one there. Gould's Gold is a 90. Like, it's not close. If that's just it, right? What are you supposed to do? I think Seize the Gray is going to create a little bit of speed. I think Batten Down would create speed. Obviously, Fiercest would create speed. Sierra Leone, to me, is the horse, like, it all sets up to him. And, he's only got 5 other horses to contend with, right? So, surely he can not get into too much trouble here in this race. And they know what he should win. He really should win. I don't know that he will. I'm kind of with you on the what you said in the openings, like just so many undependable horses. But he'll show up. He'll bring it. He'll give it a run. And listen, we talked forever in the opening about Mind Frame and Dornoch. Well, he finished 3rd to them, and if Dornoch and now that we know these horses, if Dornoch or Mind Frame were in this race, you'd probably bet them. So. Mm-hmm. Give me Sierra Leone, but honestly, I'm not putting a lot of stock in him or really anyone in here.
Yeah, he's the best horse. He's in the race as far as when you look at just the body of work. He's the one you can rely on.
Yeah, for sure.
I went back and watched the Belmont again. He was pretty atrocious in the race, to be completely honest with you. He really, I thought it was his worst race. And I think the way the track was playing that weekend had a little bit to do with it.
Yeah.
He just never looked good in that race at any point. I know he closed up and you're like, he only lost by a length and a half. How can you be saying that stuff? That was the first time I watched him and thought, that's a Red Route 1. That's a Looking at Lee. That's a, name the closers that get you excited, but they don't ever seem to win. The other 5 races of his career, even though he lost a couple of them, I never viewed him like that. I viewed him as he's a serious horse. The Kentucky Derby, that was a serious move. The Rimson, where he lost to Dornoch, he still made a serious move. He made a winning move. The Belmont, he looked like shit. And you might even be looking at his numbers and say, well, he ran a good number. I'm not talking about that. That was his first race where he never at any point looked like he was going to win the race. Does he bounce back from that? That's the big question. Because that Sierra Leone, if he shows up at the Jim Dandy, he still may win because these other horses, I think he's still a little better than them, but he needs to be a little sharper. I did not think he was very sharp in that race.
The other thing that's very hard about him to figure out, or maybe it's not that hard to figure out, like he's been the same horse all year. He's kind of really maybe his all career. but he's ran the same race like 4 straight times from a numbers perspective.
Yeah.
You know, he's not made any kind of progression like you like to see a lot of times with these horses. Like, you know, they've kind of, you can tell they're getting a little bit better. They're getting like, he ran a 99 in the Belmont, he ran a 99 in the Kentucky Derby, he ran a 98 in the Bluegrass, he ran a 95 of the Risen Star. I mean, he's kind of just, like you said, though, he is what he is. Like, we know what he is. He's dependable. He shows up every time. It's one of those, I think he's one of those horses that if a better horse, and I know that's kind of dumb to say, but like in general, like if a better horse in the race shows up, he'll lose, right? But if he's the best horse in the race, then he'll win, you know, because he kind of comes from out of it. He comes down the stretch. He runs his race. If a horse is faster than him, he's not going to get there. If there's not, then he will. He seems to be that kind of horse.
I think this is the perfect example of the race. He's better than the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. Yeah. And it's just a matter of, will the 6 run a big race? He'll never catch Fierceness if Fierceness runs a huge race.
Yep.
That's the type of horse Sierra Leone is never going to beat. However, there's not many that can, at their absolute peak, I'm saying, like Fierceness at his absolute peak, there's not many horses that Sierra Leone will face. There may not be any that can run that fast. So again, to me, it's like, okay, then that comes down to, do I want to trust Sierra Leone or do I want to trust Fierceness? I'd rather trust Sierra Leone because I know he's going to show up and run his race.
Yeah. All right. So the one horse that's obviously the easy one as far as like not named Fierceness or not named Sierra Leone is Batten Down. He's interesting from a standpoint of he's kind of been, you know, and you and I don't remember if you picked him or not, but I was kind of hesitant to pick him in the Ohio Derby. He ran. I mean, I remember you and I we were in St. Louis when we watched that race, and it was like, yeah, you know, he ran well, didn't run like extremely well. The race prior, he ran extremely well. Obviously, it was enough for them to kind of start thinking maybe we'll run him in the Belmont. Well, no, it kind of kept getting delayed. They finally are kind of pulling the trigger and running this kind of competition. I don't know, man. Like I do think he is a little bit more versatile than needing to go straight to the lead. So if say Fierceness were to run kind of off the screen early in the race, I think he could still kind of run his race. But I used him underneath. Him winning this race would be a little surprising because I see him being like I think he's a cut below, say, a Sierra Leone, but I do think he will run decent. If that makes sense.
I think he's a lot like his brother. I think he has some weird little quirks that are keeping him from really showing off his big stuff. He's a Tacitus is his brother, if you didn't know. But yeah, look, the race 2 back at Churchill was awesome. The race last time out in the Ohio Derby, it looked like it was going to be awesome. And he turned for home and he wouldn't switch his leads and he was kind of waiting, and you just kind of exit that race and go, he hasn't quite put it all together. He's getting better. He's not going to shock me if he wins. I just haven't seen that. I don't know what the word is, just putting it all together mentally, physically, everything, and running that monster race that can win this one. But I definitely think he's getting better. I think he's got the right trainer. And I think if he can kind of mentally keep progressing, he can win here. I don't know if it's going to be Saturday. I don't know if he'll ever kind of get there, but he is definitely the other horse besides the 1 and the 6 that I'm very interested in this race.
I do think an interesting play in the race would be if you just want to say, you know, maybe play Fierceness and Savers or in your pick 4s or whatever, that's fine. But if you want to try to beat him in the race, like you play Sierra Leone on top of an Exacta over, say, Caesar Gray and Batten Down, and then flip it in case Sierra Leone can't quite get there. But I do think that's kind of the play, in my opinion, of how to kind of, because I mean, listen, Caesar Gray, it's Lucas, right? So like in that Preakness, like that came out of left field too, right? So you just don't know. His last race obviously was terrible. What he'll do here, he's capable of winning the race. I'll say that.
I wouldn't be shocked if Caesar Gray won, but he's not a horse that I can tell you to go bad at this price. He does have one race, and it was the Preakness, and it was a special race and a very good performance. If he runs that race, he has a big shot. All of his other races, even the ones he's won and even the ones he looked good in, they're not close to that one.
No.
That one was off the charts. And people got mad at me when I said that before, but it's true. And he came to the Belmont and he didn't run very well because he's a horse that's good that ran an elite race in a big spot. But I need to see him do it again. I want Lucas to win. I think it'd be great if he went up there and won, but I just can't support Seize the Gray as far as a win until I see him do what he did in the Preakness somewhere else. And the other thing, like, we have a long line of races we can look at for Seize the Gray, because it's a Lucas horse and he runs them, and I like that. That's not a knock on him, but we have a long line, and there's just not one that gets me that excited other than the Preakness, which was it just exceptional. One of the best races of the year for a 3-year-old.
Yep. Yeah. And the question is, was it the mud? Was that what kind of pushed him through?
Yeah.
If we see another kind of dud performance from him, maybe that was. So, all right, give me your final pick of the race.
Yeah, I'll go Sierra Leone. I really don't like the race because Fierceness is in it. And so it's always kind of a mystery, but I think Sierra Leone, I'm going to go with him on top.
Yep. Give me Sierra Leone. I think the race, I don't think it does. It sets up great for him. The question is can he, is he going to be too far out of it? The other question is Fierceness, what he does. But from a numbers standpoint, if they all kind of run what they've been running, assuming Fierceness doesn't run off the screen, then the speed is there. It should set up. He should be ready to roll. Listen, I think he's got a big chance here. I don't know that I want to play him at even money. I'll say that. So I'll try to play him like kind of I alluded to earlier. I'll either be playing a cold exacta or I'll play mix. I'll try to create some value with him because playing him like a huge win bet on him does not get me excited whatsoever. All right, I lied. I'm going to ask you another question. Okay. So assuming because the only two, in my opinion, the only three, in my opinion, right, would be Sierra Leone, Seize the Gray, Fierces. Any of those three win, are you like, oh yeah, like maybe that horse could, that could be like, maybe they're not there yet because Dornoch is proven to be there, but yeah, they could beat him for sure.
No chance I'll be playing Fierceness to win. Sierra Leone, yeah, if the situation was right, I could get there with him. I'm still not like scared of Dornoch, but it's just now as we get more data, it's like, well, it's gonna have to be somebody pretty decent. So if Fierceness was to run his best race, he could beat him. But again, I'm not going to support him in that kind of race. So I would go Sierra Leone, maybe. Yeah, I think this is I'll put it this: if it sets up like it sets up on paper, and we get pace, and Fierceness is just okay, and Sierra Leone doesn't win, I'm pretty much shutting the door on him. I think this is a big race for him. So if he wins here, I could see myself picking him in the Travers. I really could.
I agree. I think he is a legit horse in the Travers and really the rest of the year. If this is, like you said, a big race. Listen, and I'll just say that, we said it right after, I think the Kentucky Derby. We were like, from now until the end of time, until Fierceness retires, he is 100% always a horse that you can't play, but you can't play against. There's we can't look at the paper. We can't talk to the trainer. We can't talk to the connections and be like, hey, now today's the day. No clue moving forward. So you just kind of have to, when he's in a race, you don't have to look at the form. You don't have to look at how he's working. You don't maybe he'll do it. Maybe he won't. We'll see.
I was telling people on the Dudes Who Bet Sports, I said, we're lucky. We got some connections with the Pletcher Barn. We get some information. They don't know. They have no idea what this horse is going to do ever. That we have been told the horse looks terrible. The horse is working out terrible and he'll go win by 12. We've been told he is working the best he's ever worked. They're more confident than ever, and he loses by 20. So they don't know either. And if we know stuff, we say it on the air, and I can't give you any information. They're wrong on this horse all the time. And that's the trainer, guys. Like he doesn't know. And that's the most frustrating thing. I have grilled them. I said, I'm not going to say anything. Just, is he hurt? Is there some kind of physical problem? They're like, there is nothing wrong with that horse. I don't know what to tell you.
So what can you do? I
Yeah.
mean, so you, we'll find out. It'll be, no matter what, it's an exciting race anytime he's in it, because we'll see what he's going to do. If he can run off the screen, or if he, if he's gonna pack it in at the top of the stretch. Sierra Leone's gonna try to come get him. We'll find out who wins the Jim Dandy this Saturday at Saratoga. Kevin, that's pretty funny.
That's a good one. Yeah,
that's pretty accurate. Yeah,
yeah, I like that.
I'm trying to think of like a real true example of a player in the NFL or any sport that's like kind of like that, like where they can put up just insane numbers in a game, and then also can just throw 4 picks. Maybe like a Kirk Cousins or something. I don't know.
No, the Kirk Cousins, he's not, his high isn't high enough. We were comparing him to James Harden. Patrick and I were back at Derby season. We're like, he can be an elite player, and he can be awful. That's
pretty fair. Yeah, he can put up 50 in a game, and he can go 0 for 10 on behind the 3.
Yep.
And this next night.
Yep.
Oh man. Yeah. Truth exposed. There you go. Dornick's your boy. Dornick is he's making you proud then, huh? Because he looks awesome now.
Yep.
All right, let's get in. We're gonna go to Saratoga. We're gonna go to Del Mar. We'll go a little back and forth. Friday, got racing tomorrow, and all the way into Sunday. I saw this too. Timberlake, finally, right? I mean, I thought that was the plan all along, so I don't know why we just threw in the Haskell there. I mean, listen, he didn't, like, for a horse that I don't think wants to go that far, he ran respectable, right? I mean, he is what he is. He just not, like, why are we doing that? It's crazy.
I think, I don't know. I think he saw a short field and thought he'd take a chance. I don't think he was real scared of those other horses. And he honestly runs kind of the same race every time. It's just, if the horses aren't very good, he can win. And if they have some good ones in there, he's not going to beat them.
Yeah.
And I like, this sprint group isn't great, and maybe he'll catch that field,
Yeah. I mean, he's for a horse like off that long of a layoff, off of some sort of, issues.
Yeah.
I thought he ran really well to ask for a grade 1, Haskell against obviously now the top 3-year-old and second top 3-year-old, or second best 3-year-old. I mean, what can you expect? He was the best horse of those horses, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, they're making the right move though, for sure.
I agree.
Kind of like, remember, like, remember Jack Christopher? I mean, I think Jack Christopher's way better, but like the Haskell was like the final straw. We're like, no, okay, now we're cutting them back, and look what he turned into.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's kind of the thing. He was so good that they thought, well, we try it. He's so good. And he just, when you stretch that sprinter out, they just don't have that burst, and that's kind of what happened with him. And honestly, like, when you see Jack Christopher in the flesh, it's like, yeah, no, he's a sprinter.
Yeah.
Like, he looks just like a sprinter.
Yeah. There's like, there's no, I know now when we saw him, I was like, that's why he wasn't going to make it, mile and eighth, mile and a quarter. Like, that wasn't him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was built to sprint, and he clearly was very good at that. So we'll see what Timberlake does. He's a good looking horse. We'll find out what he does. The Jerkins is always a hell of a race.
Well, Kevin B's bringing up, I think, the best one, Jackie's Warrior versus Life is Good. The cutback versus the sprint. That was such a good race that day. Man, was that a good race that day.
That was just, at that top of the stretch, midway through the stretch, you forgot of who you bet. It was just about, you kind of just were like, this is insane. Like,
that's one of the best races I've seen in person. That was so much fun. I remember, I think it was Vicky. Yeah, I think Vicky Felker was there, a friend of the Racing Dudes, and on the chat sometimes. And after the race, we saw each other. It was like, man, that's why you come up here to watch a race like that. That was so good.
Yeah. That's one that you're losing trainer. You're like, I mean, that was what more do you want, you know?
Yeah.
2 horses
yeah.
threw it down.
It's awesome.
Life is good, man. That's a horse that he could do a little everything, you know?
Well, if you remember, he lost that race, but he probably shouldn't have lost the race.
Yeah. I
God,
remember the ride.
terrible ride.
Mike's just like, yep, we're just gonna win this thing. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Go. Like,
It wasn't good.
okay, well, I feel like I'm there for a minute. Like there's been some. I mean, for as good of a jockey as Mike Smith, like as far as his resume goes, for sure, it's like there's been rides on him, like, dude, especially late in his career. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
All right, time for rapid fire. Let's get into. We got stakes action across the betting Bible that is available right now. RacingDudes.com. We've got the entire card at Saratoga on Saturday. Myself, Halterman, every bet that we're going to play or that you can play within exactas, wins, long shots, trifectas, pick fours, pick threes, whatever, as well as top 4 picks from not just myself and Halterman, but the entire team at racingdudes.com. So make sure you go get your hands on that over there in the handicapping products page. You get it for free if you are a subscriber. So go subscribe. Yeah, the music. Kevin, you like that?
I don't.
You don't like it? It makes
No.
my job so much easier because I don't have to edit it in later.
Well, I mean, we can keep it then. That's fine.
Fine. You know, listen, you try new things. Like, you guys are just like old people who don't like to try new things. Like, come on, Kevin. What the hell is going on? It's the
cut
same
out
song
your
we've used forever, Kevin. I bet Kevin never listens to the podcast version.
it cut out your audio there for a while.
Oh, well.
So
Great. Okay, well, you know what? That's what I get for trying something new. So you're welcome. All right, let's get to the first race on rapid fire. Don't worry, Kevin. I'll add it in post. It's Friday at the Amsterdam Stakes at Saratoga, race number 3, grade 2, or 200K, 6.5 furlongs for 3-year-olds. We got a field of 5. Halterman lined up. You've got 8-5 on Jefferson Street, who looked damn good last time out. But man, it's I mean, look, it's a 5-horse field. Every horse is 4-1 or 9-2 or lower. You really get your options here of who you like.
Hey, I hate this race too. That's kind of a theme for me. I've hated a lot of these races on this weekend, and this is one of them. It's field of 5. They all look alike. None of them are very good. I went number 1 world record on top in this spot. Look, 2 races back, really nice maiden special weight win. Last time out, got beat by Raging Torrent and Otto the Conqueror. They're not too bad. Still ran okay. I look at the way this sets up. It looks like this horse is the lone speed and gets Flavian Proud aboard. So give me world record in a race, another one. It's just kind of a weird race, I in my opinion. It sets up kind of strange.
Yeah, it's like I said, and I think that the odds kind of dictate that. You've got every horse in here that has come off of some sort of, well, not come off, but has ran some sort of monster race in their career, right? And they're all very lightly raced horses. So you got horses that have just ran off the screen in a lot of the races, and then you got to figure out, are they going to do it here? And I think world record, I thought that loss last time out in that Maxfield ran well. Clearly wasn't good enough to beat them that day, but is cutting back a little bit to that 6.5. I think that might be right there, perfect in the wheelhouse. And I also like the fact that the horse is kind of, even the times when the horse wasn't on the lead, has still shown effort, has made is a horse that kind of finishes races and just hasn't been quite good enough in the losses. So give me the 1 world record. Like you said, Pratt rode this horse on debut, also rode him on that last race, and now he's back again. So give me number 1 world record as well. All right, let's go out to Del Mar on Saturday, and we're going to go to the race number 8, the San Diego Handicap, grade 2 or 300K, going a mile and 1/16 for 3-year-olds and up. And look who has shown up here. Field of 5 now, but you got the 4 Arabian Night. 3-5 for Bob Baffert. Probably go lower than that. We'll see. But Arabian Night, Haltern makes his return to the track. And honestly, you got Dr. Venkman stretching out for the first time. You've got Express Train, who we kind of know what he is. Newgrange is, like, okay. I mean, this feels like Arabian Night should win, but at the same time, we haven't seen him in forever. And when we did, he lost. And do you trust him enough?
Oh, a lot of questions. I think he's going to dominate, honestly. To me, I think Dr. Venkman maybe can give him a little bit of a run for his money. He's kind of the new shooter to this division, but at the end of the day, I think Arabian Night is going to be ready to run. I think they've kind of targeted this race. I think they've got like a 3-race map for him to kind of end the season. And I think if he gets to the lead, breaks well, I think it's over. So, yeah, I'm going to go Arabian Night pretty big in this one.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, listen, his losses have been in the Haskell, in the Breeders' Cup. And he really he ran in so fast that day in the Breeders' Cup and just got tired and got beat by Wadabario, Dermot Degati, and Proxy. Yeah. But, Wadabario, obviously, horse of the year. So I just don't see how he loses, to be quite honest. I do think I don't think Dr. Venkman can beat him, but I do think he's a nice horse. Mm-hmm. And it also, like, breeding wise, he should like the distance.
Absolutely.
He's a ghost zapper out of an arch dam. Kind of surprising they haven't tried this far 2 turns yet with him. So interesting place. Obviously they're probably thinking, well, maybe we'll go to the Pacific Classic. We'll find out. But so yeah, I mean, a likely contender. Express Train, it's like he's one of those horses where you're like, yeah, I mean, listen, he's the class of the field, right? Because he's ran forever and he's ran in all the big races out there. But we kind of know what he is. I mean, sure, like if Arabian Night doesn't run, then yeah, he can win. But I think they're all running for second as well. Give me the 4 Arabian Night. We'll see. He's a quote unquote new shooter because we haven't seen him since Breeders' Cup. But if he can stay healthy, he could definitely add a mix here as we get into the second half of the season. All right, let's go to race number 10 at Del Mar, the Bing Crosby Stakes. It's a grade 1, where it's $400K, 6 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. It is a Breeders' Cup winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint, of course, out at Del Mar later in the year. Field of 9, scratching down currently to a field of 8, 6-5 on the Chosen Vron, who's just such an awesome California bred horse. And then Happy Jack, who ran awesome last time out as well, 3-1. Kind of seems to be between those two. I guess Straight No Chaser, he's interesting as well. But where are you at between these two?
By the way, do you miss John White yet? How about the morning line on Jackstown?
Yeah, I saw. And I've missed him since he retired.
I mean, my goodness. Yeah, that's not going to happen. 15-1's not going to happen on Jackstown. Yeah.
I mean, you have a common sense. Like, you forget if you like the horse or not. Like, it's Bob Baffert. Look how the horse has won. He's not going to be 50. First click, that horse will be like 3-1.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to be 15. Maybe 3, 4, 5, something like that.
I bet he gets bet early.
I would think so. He won off over 600 days off, and he dominated last time out. And it's Bob Baffert going straight to a stakes after that, a grade 1 stakes. Yeah, I think for sure he's going to take money. Anyway, he's Magic's top pick, and I had him in second. I think Jackstown's going to be tough here, but I went the Chosen Vron. At different points, I had different horses on top, and I just kept going back to the Chosen Vron. I think he's the horse to beat. He's been awfully good. I think he gets it done here. So give me the 8, the Chosen Vron.
Yeah, I love this horse. I mean, he's so quality, and even showed that, while maybe he's not quality enough, like from the world stage, like he certainly can beat. He can hang, right? I mean, he ran in the Breeders' Cup Sprint back in last year, ran 5th, and really was. I mean, he didn't win, but he didn't he wasn't embarrassing, like, right, certainly for a California bred. And even after that, what do you do after you've had a campaign and you get to the Breeders' Cup Sprint? Well, you just continue to run. And by the way, he has not lost a race since that day. And he loves Del Mar. He's 3 for 5 at Del Mar. He loves this distance. He's 5 for 6 at the distance. And by the way, who did he beat 2 back? Happy Jack. And I thought Happy Jack looked spectacular in the race after he lost to the Chosen Vron. So I just think at Chosen Vron, he's gonna sit outside of Happy Jack, who went straight to the lead last time out. So I think he can kind of dictate a little bit if he wants to go, if he wants to sit off of Happy Jack a little bit. 9's the wild card, right? 15-1, yeah, right. But I give me the Chosen Vron. I'm with you. I love this horse. Another one of those, man, that you can just you can depend on him.
Yep.
He runs every time.
If he gets beat, he's going to run well.
Yep. All right, let's go back to Saratoga on Saturday, race number 6. Again, we will have all our picks for this race for the entire card in the betting Bible available at the site right now. But we'll go ahead and give our win picks for this. The Alfred G. Vanderbilt handicap gets a grade 1 worth $350K, 6 furlongs. For 3-year-olds and up, it's not a win you're in, but we kind of getting the East Coast version of the Bing Crosby, so to speak, on the weekend. Skelly, I know you love this horse at 6-5 for Asmussen, but dude, it's another one of the subgrade is nice. 7-2. Baby Yoda, we know what he can do. He's capable of running huge races. And Nakatomi, same. I mean, you got a bunch of horses in here that can run huge races.
Yeah, they can. I'm going to go with Skelly to beat them all, though. I still think he's the one to beat in this spot. He did lose last time out, but look, close the game. Sugar is the horse that beat him. Came back to win again. He's looked very good. He looks good in the Bing Crosby, and I think that horse is solid. I know it was an ungraded race over at Churchill Downs, but I think he ran into a pretty good horse that day. So, look, I think he's loose. Talking about Skelly, I think they're going to have to run him down. I do like the 5 Subbrigade a little bit, Nakatomi a little bit as well, but I think Skelly holds him off. So give me Skelly on top.
Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait for this one. I completely understand why you're going Skelly, but give me the 5. Give me the 5 Subbrigade. I thought that last race was, it's one of those he's just continued to get better and better with really, especially the last, say, 3 or 4 races, just showing a little bit more. And that last race, man, just ran off the screen. And really, it's one of those races to me, when you look at the numbers, he's gradually gotten better to that point. It wasn't like, and he's been running 80s and then bam, ran a 106. Like, he's gotten each race an 84 or 78 and 84, 99, a 106. He seems to be running right, and he's obviously attracted the attention of IRAD. So we'll see if that is enough to kind of give Skelly an opportunity or a threat here. And I also think that just he'll be able to maybe sit off, because you never know with like some of these Baby Yoda. Nakatomi is going to come from flying out of it, but you got Baby Yoda in here and Skelly. Skelly is just insanely fast, so it's going to be come and catch me. We'll see. I'm going to take a chance with the 5 Subbrigate to win there. Let's go. Last race. We're going to Saratoga on Sunday. That's right, Sunday, Saratoga. The Bowling Green, guys. Let's go to the Bowling Green. Let me pull it up. There we go. Race number 9 on Sunday, Saratoga, Bowling Green. Grade 2, 250K, going 1 3/8 miles on the inner turf, 4-year-olds and up. Field of 7 shows up here, and the Silver Knot that we thought was Silver Knot prior, now wasn't for a while. Now he's back, and now he's 4-5, so now you got to suck down 4-5. Pratt, Appleby, who just are insane. I mean, their numbers are through the roof when they team up. But look who's showing up, Halterman. Number 5, Soldier Rising. He's back. Clement and Ortiz. So do you think they're good enough to take down Silver Knot?
I think if the current Silver Knot shows up, I think they get him. And I think they'll be really tough to beat Silver Knot in this spot. He has been very good those last 2 races. The Elkhorn, I wasn't totally convinced, and then when he went up to the Man of War and did what he did, I was like, okay, he's there now. He's back. So yeah, I really like him. I sat there for a while and thought about Ohana Honor, but look, Silver Knot kind of dominated him 2 races back. I thought Ohana Honor did run very well last time out in the Manhattan, but I'm going back to Silver Knot. I think he's awfully tough in this spot. I think he sits a really nice kind of stalking trip, saves the ground, and then goes and gets him. So, I thought about going against him, but I think at the end of the day, Silver Knot's the one to beat.
Yeah, it's Silver Knot is so I was quote unquote smart enough to take him in the Man of War, and he got 4-1 on him, and it was just like, wow. Now 4-5 doesn't sound as awesome, right?
I know.
Because, but it's still a gift if he runs like he's been running. But we also unfortunately have a big body of work where he hasn't quite done that. Honestly, dude, I wanted, and I kept trying to make myself pick Soldier Rising. I was like, I'm gonna do it. And then I'd watch the replay of Silver Knot, the last one. Like Soldier Rising is gonna, like, if he can take the step up, out, and become the horse that maybe a lot of people thought he would be at some point. Yeah, he's got a chance. But Silver Knot is we know what he is. He's there. So I think he's going to be tough to beat here. And listen, Appleby and Pratt, 83%. Okay.
Pretty good.
83%. That's solid. So give me the 2 Silver Knot. I mean, it's a small sample size, but it's 6. It's not like it's 2, 3. It's a solid number.
They've been insanely good together. They have, and it used to be, oh, here comes William Buick. Buick still comes over and does fine, but Pratt has kind of become Appleby's other guy, and
Pratt's riding insanely well right now, and Appleby is Appleby, so it makes sense, right? But it's hard to get a bad ride from Pratt currently.
Yep.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections over there on our products page. Of course, the betting Bible for the Jim Dandy is available right now on that same page. Just scroll down and you can see it there. It is available. All 12 races on Saturday at Saratoga. Our plays for every single race, exactas, trifectas, win bets, long shots, who we like, our top 4s, everything included in that. If you are a premium subscriber, it's already for free. It's $70 a month. You get that as low as $70 a month, and you'll get them for free. Of course, next week, dude, we're back at it. We've got one last week. We have this week, and we have the Whitney next week. So stay tuned. But now is a great time to become a subscriber. We're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can find episodes of Blinkers Off. I visit our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, all the places. Go over to YouTube. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification button so you will get alerted for all our live content. How did the Hawthorne action go today?
Oh, it was good. It was very good. They were on the turf, so we got to cover a race on the turf, and then I believe a 37-1 shot won the last race. Actually,
did you have it?
No.
By the way, if you guys want some more action, go get the Del Mar Pick 5 preview over the Magic Mike show. Halterman and Magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Teamed up for that one. And then if you got the dudes who bet with guess what? Halterman was on that one too with his dad, and they talked about the Saturday Pick 5 at Saratoga. So, man, I mean, I'm sure most people have watched it, but if not, they get more of you later.
There's a lot on there right now, and if you need video breakdowns of these entire fields, you can actually go see that as well. So there's a lot of information. Just depends on how much you want to listen to it. Probably not that much.
I mean, I feel like to a lot of people, your voice is probably soothing at this point.
At this point, yeah, it better be, or you're not on the channel.
I bet you Kevin's now wife, I guess, knows, like, she just doesn't even listen or doesn't even watch. She's like, oh shit, he's listening to that again. I can hear his voice. It's like she knows your voice as well as she knows his voice.
I know, right? Yeah, that's very sad for both of you, but
we know she knows my voice.
So. Well, of course.
Sorry, Kevin. Sorry. Kevin, are we gonna have Kevin in the fantasy league, by the way? Because that's creeping up on us here. Are we gonna add him? Is that a real thing?
I think that should be a real thing.
I don't know that he's actually interested, though. I guess I need to maybe talk to my friend first before I make that decision.
I think he should be interested.
Well, not everybody is, as we know. So
Well, that's true. That's true. We did ask Dennis, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know about that." Oh, okay. Well, heaven forbid, you know. So I think he would be interested, but look, I don't know. We'd have to see.
I gotta ask you. Have you probably haven't? 'Cause you're. I'm gonna see. All right. Or being. Oh, whoa. Listen. You know what? Or being by myself. We'll see. He's kind of
Ooh.
like I don't know if I really want to be on the guy that continues to do well every year, but it's fine. Whatever.
Ooh.
Yeah. I like to diversify so that way when my fantasy football team sucks, it's like I can. It's like,
Right.
well, I got horse racing later, and then vice
Yeah.
versa. So.
Yeah.
You didn't invite me with your comment. Listen, we'll talk. We'll talk. Hey, by the way, did you watch Presumed Innocent on Apple Plus? Do you know anything about this?
Presumed innocent. No.
Okay,
Oh yeah, no. I know because you told me. I have watched 2 episodes.
dude, you and Heather. Did she ever watch it after I
Yeah.
showed? Did she
Yeah.
watch the whole thing? Like, is she caught up or no?
She's watched 2 episodes.
Okay,
Yeah.
you guys like the finale was last night, or I guess it was
Mm-hmm.
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm not. I don't want to tell you anything because I want you to watch it. It's so. I mean, I got so many people on that show, and it's just like they're like everybody was texting me because I was like telling people to watch it, and they're like that was the best show I've ever seen.
Wow.
It was so good,
Wow. Okay.
and the twists and turns, and I mean, like. I don't want to say like if you guys haven't watched it, most people probably. I mean, I know a lot of people have. It's the number. I saw that it was the most streamed. I think I saw this. Don't quote me. Most streamed show ever on Apple Plus, which is saying something because they've had some good ones.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you guys gotta go watch it. Jake Gyllenhaal, it's really good, really good. So,
wow. Well, yep.
I need someone to talk to you about it. You know, like
How many episodes is it?
I don't think there was. I think there was like 8, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a, 3
Kevin,
days.
listen. If you don't, I'm so confident that anybody watches it. Listen. If you don't like drama and like the crime mystery, courtroom type stuff, like then maybe you don't like it. But those shows are so addicting, and now it's great for you guys because like I had to watch it and then wait for a week to watch it. Now you can just go. You can stream through it and watch it at night. You know.
Yeah.
Or a day. So, I strongly advise it. So it's
I like
so
it.
good.
All right. I'll watch it.
All right. Watch it. If you can, we're busy, I know. But if you give us a report back. Because this guy, guys, listen, he's the toughest critic in any. There's great movies out there, and he's like, it's all right. So listen, if Halterman likes it, then it's good.
Yeah, Ryan showed me a show that he hyped it up to be the best show ever in the history of television.
Well,
and we watched it while he was here, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's not like, but you see, they did this and they did this and this. It's like, yeah, but I'm just watching. Like, I don't want to sit there and I don't need to know the ins and outs of how they put the show together. I liked it, but I'm not like.
It's hard
telling
to
you
move.
It's hard to move. So yeah, if I don't like it, I'll tell you for sure.
It's hard to move you. Is what you're saying? Like it's
I don't like. To me, like when I watch a show, all I'm thinking of was that entertaining to me or not.
Yeah.
Like I don't get too technical about. Do you see what they did with the characters? It's like I don't care. Like I don't care.
Like, Ryan so badly wants a good job from you, and you just can't give it to him.
No, I told him it was great. I said, "Oh yeah, that was great," but it wasn't great. It was just okay.
Well, it doesn't really surprise me that he kind of thought it was like. I mean, because not like because he sees the details of these shows and movies.
Yeah,
like we are like, yeah, it's like, did it have my attention or not?
See that's just it. And he's like, he kept telling me all these mysteries will be answered, and like none of them were answered. It's just like I don't even know what's happening in the show.
Listen, I'll say this, and I've talked to a handful of people, and then after I didn't watch because I didn't want any spoilers, because it was like a movie or a show or no, it was a movie in way in the early 90s, and then they redid it, and then and there was a book too, and so I was like, I don't want to have any indication But it literally is one of those like throughout it where you're like, oh, I think he did it. No, I don't. No, I think they did it. And then you're like, I don't fucking know who did it. Like, and then at the end, you're like, oh, what? So it just it did the twists and the turns and the acting is incredible. And it's I think each episode is 40 to none of them are longer than an hour, so they're quick.
I would say by the next podcast, I probably could have. I mean, like Mondays and Tuesdays. That's kind of when I can watch stuff. So I will definitely try to get it watched by the next podcast, so I can come up with a review. And look,
Yes.
I am a harsh critic, but there are things I love. So I don't hate everything. That's for sure.
Well, I feel like I know Heather's movie taste as good as your. I think she will love it. So
she likes everything. So she's a very light critic. Any show, any movie, anything, she loves it. So we'll sit there and watch it and I'll be like, this show is terrible. She's like, it's so good. No, it's not. It's so bad.
Is the Plattsburgh trip coming?
I don't know when that's coming. It's not happening this summer. I know that. Probably in the fall, I think, because we went up in April, so we don't really, need to come up. But it'll be, but before too long, I'll be up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I should be on next week. I'll be in Florida though, so I'll try to. I'll try to be on.
I was gonna say, when are you leave? What day are you leaving next week?
Well, we might leave we check in Wednesday, so
Okay.
Wednesday to Wednesday, basically.
I don't think you're gonna be on next week. That's my guess.
I mean, but it's a kid, it's a family trip, so it's not like I'm gonna be like, I might be able to, like, my parents could take care of the boys or something, so.
We'll
see. 50-50.
I'm gonna predict you're not on next week.
50. I might do it on the beach, just like chilling in the chair with the,
Yeah.
But no, we'll
predict
see.
that's not gonna happen either.
No, just the beach, Kevin. We're going to the beach, so big family trip.
Yeah.
Ricky's like, he listens, like he's just always there. I saw Harbaugh today said that their plan for Lamar is to make him not just the best quarterback in the league, but the best quarterback of all time. I'm sure you saw that quote.
Talking about Lamar, I've never. It's so weird. You either think he's the best. Like there's two groups. There's a group that thinks he's one of the best to play the game.
The Harbaugh group, yeah.
And there's there are people in the group. And then there is a group that you and I are in that's like, this guy, he's not a top 15 guy in the league type of, like, there's no real in between with this guy. Like you watch, like, was it Brian Greasy? Is he the guy that's like, oh, this is the quarterback in the NFL. This is what quarterbacking in the NFL looks like right now. And it's like, no, it's not. What are you watching?
It's, I can't recall. It's like, okay, when, like, let's just say like the Chiefs Super Bowl run this past seasons, like when we matched up against certain, like Purdy. Yeah, like I'm like, oh shit, like even him. But certainly Josh Allen, like, oh my gosh. When Lamar, it's like, oh, Lamar's throwing it. All right. Like, we're good. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm not worried about it. And I think that's the problem. I mean, listen, his problem, and we've talked about, we've gotten into some many arguments with Ricky at Saratoga, it always feels like. But the Ravens are in a no-win situation. Like, they have to sign. I mean, they have to make him their franchise quarterback. They have to, like, do it. You know what I mean? They have to. Like, you can't not have him. But at the same time, you pay him all that money to win championships, and certainly look how good the AFC is. I don't see it. That's probably why they brought in Derrick Henry, to try to take the pressure off of Lamar, but
it's not going to work. I remember talking to my uncle, and he, for whatever reason, he just doesn't like the Chiefs. He's such a hater. And after they won in Buffalo, they're like, well, crown them the Super Bowl champions. It's over. And I said, yo, totally. Like, Lamar's not going to beat him. He's like, of course not. I know exactly what's going to happen in that game. And he was right because we all knew, the realistic people knew what was going to happen in that game. And it did. And it's just like, yeah, Josh Allen was the one you thought could beat him. And he's not that good either, honestly. But he kind of choked late in that game, or they would have won. But anyway, it doesn't matter. He was the one you thought might be able to beat him because Burrow was already out. He is hurt, and it didn't work out for the Bengals because he was hurt all year. But no, there was no thought that Lamar was going to beat the Chiefs, and I don't think they would have beat the Bills either, honestly, because he's not a quarterback. And the weirdest thing for me, the MVP argument. Well, he's won the MVPs. So what does that do for you as a fan? Like, I have quarterbacks at Oklahoma that's won the Heisman Trophy. Well, they didn't win the national championship.
Yeah.
So who cares? Like, it is great for them. I'm glad they won it. Like, but I don't go around going to an Alabama fan, let's say. I don't go around going, yeah, you may have won the national championship, but my quarterback won the Heisman. Well, yeah, but we beat you 41-20 when you guys played. Well, it doesn't matter. You won the Heisman.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Hey, like, it doesn't, like, that doesn't do anything for me as a fan, Again, I'm happy for him. Very happy. Proud of him, whatever. But I don't, like, go ahead and bang my chest about it, Like.
Yeah, it's like when Mahomes wins MVP, I'm like, I don't care. I mean, cool. But did we win the Super Bowl? I mean, that's the only thing I care about. Right. And honestly, good players, good, like, real fans of their team, that's how we all feel. It's not about that. It's like, okay, cool. But did we win the Super Bowl? No. It's like, oh, well, great.
He's a guy, and he is a guy, when you haven't watched him play for an extended amount of time and you kind of forget his shortcomings, and you read into his stats, and you start reading the hype, you're like, yeah, we are good at quarterback. And then you watch him and it's like, shit. That happened when Landry Jones played for Oklahoma. As the games got farther away and you came into the offseason and all you remember are the stats, and you see in stats, and your memory fades of the season, and then you go into that next year, you go, we do have an elite quarterback. And then you get 4 games into the season, and you're like, oh shit, I remember this. He's just average.
Yep.
And I think that's my problem with Lamar. He's an NFL quarterback. He needs to be in the NFL. He's an NFL guy. There's no doubt he's one of the best 30 quarterbacks in the league. I'm not saying he shouldn't start, but the way people view him drives me nuts. Just admit what he is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And that was what OU fans would never really admit what Landry Jones was until we'd start to lose a game or two because he wasn't very good. And then everybody, oh yeah, that's right. But then before the season, we always like, yeah, he's better than 99% of these players. No, he's not. Like, he just is who he is. He's average. And Lamar is an average NFL quarterback.
He's not even the best quarterback in his division. So,
well, let's see who's in the division that's better than him. I mean, I don't know about that. That division's pretty weak at quarterback.
Okay, so you've got Baltimore, who, well, okay, I guess you don't know who the Deshaun.
Well, okay, Kevin Burrow definitely is better, but Burrow is like plays half the time.
Yeah, but Burrow is much easily the better.
He's way better than. Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah,
who is
the other two
quarterback?
The other two
are in Pittsburgh. Is it?
Wow.
Field? I saw Fields was. He's not better. I'm not suggesting that, but and Deshaun can be.
Oh,
but he's not.
Stop. I would take Lamar any day over Deshaun. Any day.
He is second best in that division.
I think it's clear that he's second best.
And we're like talking about him being the best of all time. It's just insane.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. And Kevin, I hope you're just trying to get me triggered. But come on. Come on. I mean, listen, and I'll tell anyone, I'm like, Patrick Mahomes is not the best. Like, people want to go ahead and crown him. He's not, but he could be. He could be the GOAT, but he's not.
Well,
He's certainly the best playing right now.
if he keeps winning like he's winning, there's no doubt.
Well, yeah, but I think people trying to compare him or saying he is already. It's like, no.
So yeah, Burrow for sure. CJ Stroud, I would take over him. I'm just going through like Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, would you?
No, probably. I mean, probably
Just
not. Honestly.
Herbert?
Yeah, I would take Herbert. I think coach, with the caveat of this is the year for Herbert, right? He needs to get back to how any coach is gonna any quarterback playing under that coach is gonna suck over time. But I think getting back.
Let's say you had your team. Who would you want your quarterback to be? Goff? Or Lamar?
Jared Goff, hands down.
Wow.
Hands down.
Yeah. There you go.
I would take him over Lamar 99 times out of 100. And then the 100th time, it would just because I had a weak moment that day. Like, I don't understand. Look, what's there to hate Jared Goff? Like, what is wrong with Jared Goff? All he does is put up numbers. I mean,
well, like, if you're trying to again, if we're talking about, and again, this podcast keeps going, but if you're talking about specifically like statistical talent, like Lamar, right? But if you're trying to build your team and make you have the best chance to win a Super Bowl, it's Jared Goff.
Agree.
Every time.
Now, I would take Lamar over Dak. I have Dak.
I would too. I agree with that.
I think he's awful.
I don't hate Dak, but I mean, I do not like him as a quarterback.
No. I mean,
how about Dak, Jalen Hurts?
I would take Lamar over Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. All the quarterbacks in the NFC East, I'd take Lamar.
How about your boy Baker?
I think I would take Lamar. I think he's better. I think Baker is the definition of a average NFL quarterback. Going to be around for a while. Probably never going to win a Super Bowl. Probably never going to be so bad they kick him out of the league type of guy. Like, he's like Jeff George, but not crazy like Jeff George was back in the day.
And honestly, we talked about this earlier. It's kind of like Lamar's issue is like, how like we thought earlier, like we were talking about like Dornock and like how like sometimes like you have a horse, you're like, well, let's try to rate him now, and let's try to do this, and let's try, they've said, okay, well, and maybe they or he or whatever, like, we're gonna, like, I can pass it downfield, I can make all the throws, I can do this. It's like, but if they would just use him with his feet, use those short passes, run the hell out of the ball, like, they could probably do like a lot of damage. The problem is they keep trying to make him into this pocket quarterback. There's how many times in that Chiefs game specifically where it's like, dude, if he just would have used his feet and just made plays like we know he can. I mean, he's electric in that way, but instead he sits back and tries to make the throws, and it's just, I feel like he's trying to be someone he's not. And if he would kind of go back into the way, I'm not saying he would change my mind really about him, but I think it would help them win more games than the way they do it now.
Well, I think they tried. They didn't want to get him hurt, and I think
that's
they
a big part of it. Yes,
but then it's like, yeah, you're in the playoffs now. Just go at it, and if you get hurt on a scramble, well, it is what it is, type of thing. And that is another downside for him, and that's not just with him. There a lot of these running quarterbacks in the NFL, we've seen it. They are going to have some injuries, and again, that's not a knock on Lamar. That's even running backs. Obviously, they have injuries. It's tough. So he's most valuable when he can run, and if he gets hurt, we kind of saw that drop off for the Ravens. They didn't really have a backup the last 2 years ago, I guess, when he was hurt a lot, and it kind of killed him. But yeah, I mean, you are pigeonholed into a certain offense with him. There's no doubt. And again, he's a different guy. You can't fault him for being he's a freak athletically, and he is a quarterback, but it's just his limitations in the National Football League are always going to be tough to kind of overcome. And I just can't stand this guy's elite. he's an elite athlete. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, he can do things that nobody can do.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work when you get in the big games. It doesn't work. His first year, they were the best team by far, and they get beat by an inferior team in the first round. Or I get it was the second round because their record was so good.
They had a bye. Yeah.
Yeah, they get a bye and they can't win. And then last year, they were by far the best team, but they couldn't win.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all his fault. Like they made some bonehead plays too. But still, they held the Chiefs. Their defense held the Chiefs down, and you got to go win that game.
The Chiefs gave him so many opportunities to go down the score and take the momentum, and couldn't do it.
Do it.
Lamar or Kyler?
I mean, at this moment, I would take Lamar, but again, Kyler, first full year under an actual NFL head coach. So I think, talk to me at the end of the season, I give you a definite answer. Kyler is pretty disappointing, but Kyler has probably had one of the worst head coaches in the history of football.
Yeah.
And last year when he came back and he had a real coach, he looked pretty good. Now, again, they were out of it. You can't really judge it. This is the year for Kyler, hit or miss.
Yeah, I'd try to still go Lamar, I think. Tua or Lamar?
I mean,
I'm going Lamar, I think still.
I think I got to go Lamar because, I mean, Tua, he always seems to start off good and fade. The arm strength, I don't think, is really there. I think he is surrounded by really good players that make him look better than what he is. I would go Lamar.
I'd rather have see Kevin. Give me Jordan Love over Lamar or Tua.
Yeah, I think Jordan Love would be who I would take. He's a better passer for sure. And second half of the year last year, I thought Jordan Love was really good. And I think if he can build off that, I think you say him without hesitation. Now, if he kind of regresses to what he was the first half of the last year, then maybe not. He's one you kind of we'll see what he does this season.
Yeah. You're making a good point. Like there's a lot of quarterbacks this year that are going to have that. We'll see, like, okay, they showed it or they get a different coach or whatever it is. Like, okay, all this talk of what they were or what they could be, well, no excuses, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, you look at a lot of these situations, and it's going to be really interesting. Like, how does CJ Stroud follow that up? He doesn't really fall into that category of what you're talking about, but
yeah.
In sensational rookie season, does he have a second year kind of slump? That's a big question. Trevor Lawrence, look, it's time, dude. You got your contract. You got to be more than just a little bit above average, right? So he's one to really keep an eye on as we get into this as well. And you can go down the list. Hey, Justin Fields, you're out of Chicago. Are you a guy? Like, are you a dude, or are you just kind of that guy that's just not like the poor man's Lamar? Honestly,
yeah.
That's how I view him right now. But hey, you're out of a shitty situation into a really good situation. Or is it Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh? And if it is, that probably tells you Josh Fields, he's not any good. I mean, seriously, if Russell Wilson wins that job, whoever's the backup quarterback to Russell Wilson's not very good.
I know. Right.
So,
that would tell you if he can't make the starting.
Yeah. You do get a lot of answers. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, this like the way they're building up that team around CJ Stroud, my goodness, like they're going to have zero excuses unless, like you said, he has some sort of, second year regression of some sort. But man, they're building it up. Like they're ready to win a championship this year. And that's, I think CJ Stroud, if he can continue he's probably going to win MVP of the league in the next 3 years. Assuming no injuries or anything like that. Like I think he is that talent.
If he can build off what he did, if he's not a one hit wonder, which I'm definitely not saying he is, by the way, but I'm saying build on it, progress, be that guy. I mean, that's the only guy that I see in the league that, at least right now, that can kind of challenge Mahomes. These other guys, they've kind of had their chances, and they're not, Joe Burrow. But again, I always kind of end up forgetting about him because it's like, is this the year he's healthy or is this the year we don't see him?
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's going to be his MO. And unfortunately, like he's probably going to win a Super Bowl because he's got to one already. He's obviously got talent. It it's all a lot of luck with him. Is can he be healthy when the real playing starts, so to speak? You know,
Yep.
the Chiefs. We play them early in the season. Why they schedule it early season? Well, because you get Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes for sure.
Yep. And that's the story.
And so yeah, so can he? You know, like there's no doubt about it. Like if there's any quarterback in the league, like he scares me. Like from a Chiefs fan, him healthy on the other side of the ball, and he's obviously got our number, scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, he's not afraid of him.
He has that killer instinct, and he's also got the talent.
He's not afraid of him. I think that's the biggest thing. I think we really saw it. And I don't hate Josh Allen, but he got him at home this year. He had the ball in his hands and he choked. And because I think he's a little bit afraid of him. And I know Lamar, I don't think is really afraid of him. I just don't think he's capable.
Yeah.
But Burrow is not afraid and he's capable. That's kind of my thought on him. And well, we'll see. Is Stroud going to be a guy that could do that? We'll see. Herbert under a new coach. I don't think Herbert's afraid of Kansas City. I just think he, it's like he was going to a gunfight and he brought a wooden stick with him, and not even a very heavy one.
And on top, a couple other storylines we haven't even talked about. Not to make this into a football podcast, but it already is. Is you got the Jets, right? And what Rodgers does. I mean, because they were all poised to be like Super Bowl contenders last year. They clearly, even as shitty as they were, they have an elite defense.
Yeah.
If Rodgers stays healthy, we know Garrett Wilson's a beast. Like Breece Hall, like they've got all the pieces, right? If they can do it. The Colts, right? Anthony Richardson, if he can stay healthy, that's a huge if. But when he was playing, he looked really good as a rookie. If they, they've got, Jonathan Taylor, and they've got a pretty solid defense, and they have young wide receivers there. The Packers have young wide receivers on that side. So, I mean, there are a lot of storylines this year that are going to get in the way of the Chiefs doing a little three-peat, I feel like. So we'll see.
Yep. And the biggest one will be the Los Angeles Rams. That's my prediction. I'm serious.
I know. I know. That's just throwing it out there, huh?
I love the Rams this year. Love them. Now, again, I have the Chiefs picked to win the Super Bowl. I think they're going to play the Rams. I really like the Rams this year.
I thought you picked the Rams to win it all at first. Did you change it or no?
No, I never
picked them to win the NFC. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, hey, listen, they finally have gotten kind of rebuilt back up a little bit. I feel like the Rams, and obviously Puka is a beast, and if they can stay healthy on that side of the ball, I mean, yeah, I could see it.
They've drafted very well at running back. They drafted very well on defense. The 49ers, look, they can't just keep winning every single year. You're going to have a little bit of a down year. The Rams were close to them last year. The Rams almost went to Detroit and won last year. I mean, and that was a team that everybody was like, yeah, they're just okay. I think they're much better this year. And they're 30-1 to win the Super Bowl. I think you take it. The Rams are even money to make the playoffs even. So I think they're undervalued. Look, coaching staff thinks very good. So
there you go. Yeah. Well, yeah, McVay is, I mean, yeah, he's right up there. Like he's one of those guys that, like Shanahan, we've kind of established. I think he struggles a little bit in the big games. I know McVay is young, but man, I thought when they won the Super Bowl, yeah, he's the moment's not too big for him. So it's one of those coaches you can depend on, or those young coaches that you can depend on. So, man, we might want to do like we are leading up right with preseason getting here before you know it. We're gonna have to do a blinkers off show. Or I'll just be on Dudes Who Bet, I guess. I don't know. I'm so geared up for the season.
Me too. I'm excited for it. It feels like it's taken forever to get here this year. Usually it sneaks up on me. This year, it's like I've been anticipating it, I think, a lot more.
And we've been playing college football over here like crazy. Waiting for about the package that has both Madden and that, and so we're waiting for Madden to come out. And you'd be so proud. Cohen is like, he doesn't know the teams, obviously, from our conversation the other day,
right?
But he really loves the game. He's like, it's so much better than Madden. It's like, it is better than Madden.
He's smart. Yep, yeah. It is.
He's good. He's good. I'm I'm teaching him well. He likes to be the Hound Dogs. I'm like, you mean the Bulldog? Yeah, the Bulldogs. He calls them the Hound Dogs every time. So pretty funny. Our mascot from our high school is the Hound Dogs. So it's just why I don't know why he got it in his head, but yeah, the Hound Dogs are really good on NCAA football.
I love it.
But honestly, that's just one of his favorite things, and that's what's so cool about the game is they just have all these, like, you know, how you have the Bulldog mascot or the Hound Dog mascot or the Eagle flying in or all the stuff. You know, it's like it's so realistic to a real game. You know.
Well, and I mean, college football is the greatest sport there is because of all the stuff you're talking about. Yeah. Having played Florida State and see the Seminole ride in on the horse, and you know, I mean, having played Colorado and watch Ralphie run out on the field. I mean, it's so cool, all the things that happen. And college football is extremely unique, and it does a good job of you know, picking all that stuff up.
Yeah. They clearly did it right. So
yep.
All right, guys, let's get out of here because the show's ended for 40 minutes. So, all right, guys, again, go get your picks over at racingdudes.com. Go get the betting Bible. We'll have that available. The final version will be out by tonight or tomorrow morning once we get all the top fours added into it. Have you got it done yet on your end?
We have everybody but Samich, so I think we can release it and we'll add his tomorrow.
Okay, there you go. So be on the lookout for that. We'll send out an email when that is available. All right, guys, until next time, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend in the Jim Dandy.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.